Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the show. I know on my side it didn't show that we're live, so I was like waiting until that might have been a little awkward. But thank you so much, my friends, for being here. Welcome to today's live level up conversation. Whether you're joining me live or catching me on replay, you know the drill. Happy Wednesday. Let's dive right in.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the show. I'm Winnie, your host and award-winning financial pro, a Forbes contributor, and a CNBC council member and contributor. And we are here live on a whole bunch of different social media platforms. So jump in, say hello. We've got a lot to talk about today. In fact, 2025 is going to be, I think, a year of tons of things to talk about, tons of financial news, and yeah, it's just the beginning. And I'm excited to share some of the news with you so far. But let's talk about how the market's doing. Dow's currently down 8 points. Nasdaq those up 28 points. S&P 500 is up 12 as well. So some positive, some negative, kind of a mixed day. But one of the things that just dropped, for those of you who are Apple fans, you might have seen this. Let me know if you have, and let me know if you were thinking this was it. But Tim Cook had been kind of hinting that Apple was going to be revealing something, and yes, they did. Apple has unveiled their budget-friendly cell phone. This is being reported on CNBC. Of course, Apple launches the iPhone 16e. Now, this is a budget-friendly model, but this is packed with a punch. It's being priced at $599. Remember how $599 used to not be the affordable cell phone price, but now it's the affordable price. It's just, $600 and some change. Now, is Apple's now most affordable iPhone, and get this, it has AI features. Now, this is designed to give you a lot of punch for your money. The iPhone 16e is going to include, in fact, Apple's A18 chip. You're going to get Face ID, a single camera lens, and you're going to get similar performance, they say, to high-end models, but at a budgeted lower price. Now, this also includes a new modem. In fact, this is designed by Apple. Apple's design their brand new Apple design modem. This is going to mark the first iPhone, in fact, that features Apple's own C1 cellular modem. This does replace Qualcomm's, which used to be in the phone. Now, part of Apple's new strategy, of course, is to boost sales. There's been some weakness in iPhone sales not that long ago, so they're trying to bring in new customers, people who are a little bit more cost conscious, right? Maybe even the younger user, to expand their ecosystem and, of course, their market share. So the 16e, E as in Edward, is the latest budget model, which will now replace the iPhone SE, which had a fingerprint scanner and a lower starting price of $429. But now you're getting that face scan, right? Now, unlike previous budget iPhones, the 16e will provide access to Apple's brand new AI-driven features like image generation and notification summaries, which are pretty cool. So this is like your budget, but you're getting a lot of the AI feature set. For those of you who use AI as much as I do, probably, I think we can all agree that you've really started to depend on having easy access to that technology. So, this is, of course, being launched and announced today. But what's interesting too is this is sort of a little different how Apple typically releases information. Instead of like the big keynote, Apple kind of announced the 16e just really very simply via a press release and testing sort of a lower profile approach to some of their product reveals. So let me know what you think. Are you in the model or in the market for a new iPhone? Is this 16e? Is this something that you might be interested in, or is something you're just going to pass on? Well, we know the iPhone 16 The regular iPhone 16 starts at about $800, and the 16 Pro starts at about $1,000 for the phone. So the 16E is definitely sort of that cheaper entry point for consumers looking still for AI capabilities, a nice phone, but at a much better price. So let me know your thoughts. I don't know. I'm still using an older iPhone, works great. So I don't know yet that I'm going to be replacing mine anytime soon. But I always like to see what Apple has in store for us and in terms of like new camera and productivity and all that fun stuff. It's too bad Greg isn't on the show because I would have loved to get his take on that. Greg, if you're watching, because I know you do, we miss you. Hopefully you can come back very soon and give us your take. Now, speaking of new things and new chips and all that, I want to share with you another story that came out of CNBC talking about Microsoft. Microsoft is now introducing their brand new first quantum computing chip called the marijuana. I think I'm saying that, or Majorana. I don't know. You tell me. Let me know how you pronounce this. The one, but basically, this is going to be Microsoft's first quantum computing chip. It's going to feature a lot of new technology, 8 topological qubits, making a milestone for about 20 years of research. So, talk about quantum computing potential. This is really cool. So, unlike classical computers or like, back in the day computers that use bits, like on and off, quantum computers now use these things called qubits, which can exist in multiple states simultaneously, which enables a lot of features that we love through AI, which are like advanced problem solving technology. Now, while Microsoft's AI chip, they already are, of course, cloud ready. This new chip is currently going to limit it to research partnerships with national labs and, of course, universities that are doing a lot of research. Now, Microsoft is introducing the chip's components in the United States rather, or actually, as I should say, Microsoft is producing these chips here in the United States rather than relying on Taiwan Semiconductor and other third-party manufacturers. So they're making here, and I know we know the current administration probably likes the sound of that. But yes, this has been their long-term goal. Microsoft really plans to increase the scale of quantum computing, making things a lot faster, and of course, be able to solve more real life issues and conundrums and everything else. So this is kind of cool. I'm excited to see where this takes us, but let me know how you think about this. I mean, I think we can all agree that increasing the capability to do research, especially in healthcare and science, can only be a good thing for us today and into the future as well. Well, let's continue because there's even more news. And of course, we talked about that was kind of exciting, right? Talking about chips, new phone. But one thing that's being introduced that I think some of you may be concerned about is, of course, the one again, we're in tax season. We'll also talk about tariffs. Tariffs, if you didn't know already, a lot of tariffs underway and are coming. Now, the Trump administration is proposing a 25% tariff on cars, autos, pharmaceuticals, as well as, you guessed it, semiconductors. This is being shared by my friend Jeff Cox at CNBC. So, President Donald Trump has announced potential tariffs on these things, with rates possibly increasing over time. Now, of course, it's going to have a big impact on some of our trading partners, and some countries in particular, such as Mexico and Canada and even Japan, which export, as you know, a large volume of vehicles to the United States. Now, they could actually be hit the hardest. Now, I would say probably that also means that the cost that you would pay for vehicles from these countries or pharmaceuticals from these countries are going to cost more, right? And therefore, that would drive your buying decision to buying something that's less expensive, that's made here, domestically. Now, the move follows the Trump administration's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, which is set to take effect next month. Now, of course, they are encouraging domestic manufacturing. Trump claims that tariffs will incentivize companies to relocate production to the United States, which eliminates tariff costs for domestically produced goods. So, the biggest impact they feel will impact Japan, because we know a lot of vehicles are made in Japan, and India, potentially increasing drug prices for you and I, our parents, our grandparents, And of course, worsening shortages here in the United States as well. In fact, Taiwan Semiconductor, which is a key supplier to NVIDIA and Apple, could also face higher costs and supply chain issues as well. So analysts are warning that while tariffs could strengthen domestic industries, they could also tentatively, increase prices, inflation, and all that stuff. Yeah. What are you gonna do? All right, I'm gonna get a little bit of water because we got a lot more to talk about. Is coming from our friends at TechCrunch. Rebecca Bellin is sharing this. Now, I want to talk to you about recent protests that occurred over President's Day weekend. Now, I hope some of you had a nice President's weekend. If you had kids, maybe you were able to do some family time, then that would be great. But unfortunately, there was a big protest. We're talking in the realm of 10,000 protesters gathered in New York City on President's Day. Now, what did they do? Well, they were out opposing Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, and its influence on the Trump administration. Now, these demonstrations took place nationwide, including protests at various Tesla dealerships as well. People are concerned over Elon Musk's access to the United States' federal data and power over various federal agencies. Now, as you know, DOGE was created by Trump's executive order, and they've already fired about 10,000 federal workers. They've cut 104 government contracts. They've dismantled U.S. aid, and they sparked a lot of concern of weakened government oversight. Now, critics are saying that they're concerned about what Elon Musk is doing, that he is an unelected billionaire, but he now has unprecedented control over so much federal operations, including the Treasury digital payment system, which manages things like Social Security and even your tax refund. So I'm curious to see how you feel about that. Have you been concerned about this? Have you been reading some of the concerns on social media? I've been seeing a lot of talk on both sides. I've been seeing people absolutely love Doge. I've also seen people really concerned about what Doge is doing. Now, I will say that some Trump and Musk supporters, of course, are praising Doge, saying that it's cutting bureaucracy and it's keeping costs down and really making impact on the bottom line in terms of what we're spending as here in the United States. Now, I think we would agree that that could be a good thing, right? We definitely want to make sure that the federal deficit continues to be reduced, but nonetheless, at what cost? So that's what people are asking about. Now, we know that there have been a lot of reports of people selling their Teslas. There have been boycotts in Europe. There's been a considerable amount of backlash over Elon Musk's political ties. So I guess it's kind of one of those things where we're gonna have to wait and see if this is gonna get even bigger. But curious to see how you feel. Like, let me know in comments. Like, do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? It is what it is. I think it's something that I'm certainly watching very, very closely, and I'm interested to see the impact that it has on our nation and the relationship that we have with our other nations on a global front as well. And speaking of that, Elon Musk has suggested that, well, going through all this pain, some of you might get paid, he says. So Elon Musk is introducing an idea that he says he's going to present to President Trump, calling it the DOGE Dividend, which would be a tax refund proposal. This is being shared on CNBC, talking about how Elon wants to consult President Trump on tax refunds. In fact, Elon says that he plans to check with President Trump about issuing tax refunds funded by the US government's cost savings initiatives. Now, this idea was originally suggested by investor James Fishback, who proposed using 20% of the $2 trillion in projected savings from the DOGE initiative to issue $5,000 checks per household. Now, this is, of course, going to be historical precedent for government refunds, but he's saying that comparing the proposal to private sector reimbursements, and he points that, well, Trump signed a whole bunch of checks that appeared on COVID-19 stimulus checks in 2020. So why not do it again? Now, of course, discrepancies continue to come out of reports in Doge's actual reported savings and their efforts. While Doge claims to have saved $55 billion so far, Bloomberg reports that it's actually closer to $16 billion that they can verify. And the New York Times has also found an $8 billion error in Doge's savings report. I think we can agree that when we're talking about numbers that big, what is it? Is it 55? Is it 16? Like, what is the number? Of course, there continue to be legal challenges to Doge's actions. Some of Doge's cost-cutting efforts have faced a lot of lawsuits. Some people have suffered. A lot of people have been laid off or been offered, severance packages. But I think if you go online and you read some of the comments on both fronts, I mean, you it's definitely making big news, right? Definitely a lot of financial news is coming out of political news today. All right, let's continue on though. And put in comments. Let me know how you think about that. I see a lot of you joining us live. I think um I think some of you are kind of like me, like some of it you don't even know it's you can't even believe some of this stuff is real. But nonetheless, you keep an open mind, you give credit where credit is due, and you're hoping for the best, right? Cautiously optimistic. Nonetheless, there are a lot of things that are quite concerning. All right. And speaking of, let's talk about OpenAI because OpenAI is doing something as well. And this also involves the one and only Elon Musk. Talk about someone who is like the king of multitasking here because he seems to be part of everything. This is being reported by Reuters. OpenAI is exploring now a special voting rights for its nonprofit board so that they can maintain control as transactions into a for-profit company. This move is seen as a way to block hostile takeovers, particularly from the one and only Elon Musk, who recently made an unsolicited 97 plus billion-dollar acquisition offer of OpenAI. Now, OpenAI flatly rejected Elon's bid, stating that the company is absolutely not for sale. And they're saying, like, this is just, don't even give us a future offer. It's just not a good idea. But Musk, who co-founded OpenAI, but then later left, has expressed concerns about OpenAI becoming much too profit-driven. They're saying if implemented, the special voting rights though would allow the board of OpenAI to override major investors such as Microsoft and SoftBank, ensuring that they are able to retain decision-making power. So OpenAI's leadership, of course, CEO Sam Altman is actively evaluating new governance measures to safeguard their company's mission. So the governance shift comes as OpenAI seeks more funding to stay competitive in this very competitive AI arms race. So, well, let's see how that goes too, right? And hopefully that means the technology is going to get better and that we'll all have more access and it'll be less expensive for us to do all the things that we would like to do with AI. Now, speaking of changes, Southwest Airlines has also reported this is kind of a big deal because Southwest Airlines usually doesn't let go employees, but they're going to be cutting 15% of their corporate workforce in an effort to, of course, save money. This is being shared by Leslie Josephs at CNBC. Southwest Airlines is cutting 15% of its corporate jobs. This is going to affect about 1,700 plus employees in an effort, of course, to reduce the bottom line. Their CEO, Bob Jordan, called it unprecedented decision. In fact, it's the airline's first major layoff in its 50-year age history, all that. But the layoffs are expected to save, millions of dollars and even more by 2026. And so, yeah, they're letting go of people. So if you work there or you're going to be flying them, just know that unfortunately that even Southwest is dealing with that today. And speaking of things that are changing, we got to come up with at least a fun story, right? Because it's been a pretty heavy day. I mean, besides Apple's new phone, that might be good news, and Microsoft's new chip might be good news. But this is something fun. Coca-Cola is making a new pop. It's called Simply Pop. This is reported on CNBC. They're launching Simply Pop, which is a prebiotic soda brand. Now, there is their goal to compete with companies such as Poppy and Olipop. So, Simply Pop is going to launch end of this month here on the West Coast and in Southeast the United States. Now, they've definitely seen a lot has happened. A lot of people have been drinking less soda, so soda sales have dropped over the last 20 years, but prebiotic sodas have actually surged. People love it. So Olipop, Poppy leading the trend, of course. Now Simply Pop is coming in, and they're coming in with pineapple, mango, lime, strawberry, fruit punch, citrus punch, inspired by Coke's Simply Juice line. Now, the sodas contain no added sugar, real fruit juice, talking about 25 to 30% real fruit juice. It includes vitamin C, zinc, and 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which they say is going to be more than Poppy, but less than Olipop. So they're saying that prebiotics support gut health, but their benefits are not, of course, completely conclusive, but nonetheless, um, we'll see. We'll see. I guess you'll have to do your own research. I don't know this space very well, but I mean, it's kind of fun to see that Coca-Cola, which and Pepsi, and these companies are traditionally making these very high sugar products, are looking to create products that are still sweet but lower in their sugar, or no added sugar. I think that's a good thing, right? But we do know that in the past there have been other companies that have tried to do this and have failed. But there is rumors, of course, that Pepsi Cola might be launching their own prebiotic soda as well this year. So I think that's a wait to see as well. So currently, my friends, the Dow is currently up 36 points. Nasdaq is up about 2.5 points. S&P 500 is about 10 and a quarter. We've got about 20, a little less than 20 minutes to go before the market close. But thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of today's Level Up Live. It's always great to catch up with you. Do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe so you can stay updated on all the latest insights. And of course, to watch past episodes of Level Up, you can check out NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, LG, Roku, and of course, they're here on our streaming platforms as well. And of course, when sharing an episode online, thank you so much for tagging at Winnie Sun. I see them. I so appreciate them. And with that, I hope that you have an amazing week. I'll try to come back with you again this week. But otherwise, have a beautiful week, and I hope that you're well. And thank you so much for being here and being supportive. A huge shout out, of course, to CrossX Fighter. Always a treat, and I really appreciate the support. With that, I'll see you again very soon. Take care now. Bye.